Hello, everybody. How is everyone today? Give me a thumbs up, a wave. Let me know you can see me and hear me. Let's see who all's in the house. Aurora, hello. Anna, welcome. Jeremy, RD, Robin. Wow, we got a lot in here. For those of you that aren't talking and saying hello, share where you're at. Let us know you're in here. Don't forget, everybody say hello to Mary Jane. We know she's in here. Thank you, Anna. Yes, definitely hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You want to join the classes? They're free. That's all you got to do. Everybody excited for today's class? Anna, we know. We learned hyposis way back in the day. Hi, Tracy. You're excited. Well, I got some goodies for y'all. We got a lot of goodies today. Janella, welcome. This is going to be our last class for 2 weeks. We're going to take a 2-week hiatus. And because I got some stuff I need to get done. And I don't know if y'all are like this, but I'm the type when I'm tied into something and I have to stop, and it happens to be I'm tied into something and it blocks me from the classes. That means I got to clean up my mess and everything. I don't like to do that. I like to finish what I'm doing. Got a bunch of wedding stuff going on too. Did y'all bring your Easter eggs? I got mine. Mia keeps wanting to eat mine. She likes mine. She wants to play with it. She don't know which one she likes better, bunny or this one. And the bunny, because of the pink ears, she's got 2 pair of bunny shoes, and her bunny shoes have ears on them like this, so she thinks it's her shoes. So there we go. Hi, Tasneem. Tasneem, I got your email. And I have to say, you did fantastic, like I thought you would. Yes, Pam. May 6th. We'll be off for 2 weeks. You was thinking that when you saw the bunny? Yep. I have to watch her. She keeps nabbing them. I've got the little basket sitting over here beside me, and she keeps napping the bunnies out of it. I have to catch her. Make sure you send those to Sue, Taz, because I think she'd like to see them too. But I have a treat for you guys today. We're going to learn something we have not learned yet. Y'all have to excuse me. I ate breakfast this morning. It's just not agreeing with me for some reason. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. Yeah, Aurora, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off so that I can get some things done around the house. Spring has sprung, and I'm allergic to pine trees. And the pine trees are spitting their pollen, and it's making its way in the house. I can't stop sneezing, and I can't stop the runny nose and the stuffy headaches. Question. All right, Tasneem, ask your question. Or trust me, that's what I feel like, a hot air balloon. You have a question too. Okay. Well, let's get Tasneem and Anna's questions out of the way. Go ahead and ask it. Yeah, because you don't want the dummy to show on the edges of your work. Your wide open mouth has fallen from your face. Yeah, we're only taking a 2 week break. I'm going to get the house all scrubbed down and get all the ick out of here. Hi, Kathleen. Plus, we got the winter ick, when we got that snow, that rare snow, we got it. And yeah, it got tracked in the house. And I hadn't really had an opportunity because right after that's when I got all the other problems. So I am getting better though. This is all healing up. I've only got a few more scabs left here. Most of it's gone to scar tissue, but from here back, that is still sore. Uh, Front and backside tatting. Yes, when you're doing the technique in needle, you put your stitches on in the reverse order of double stitches. Okay, because their front and back is the same. Okay, on both shuttle and needle. And when you do that, let me turn this off. It's 3 o'clock. When you do that on needle, you've got to make sure you reverse your work and do the rods, because if you don't, then you're not doing true front side back side. You can do what they call directional tatting, and it's the same thing as front side back side tatting. The difference is you're putting the stitches on the chains and rods order, and you don't do the flipping back and forth, something you're going to learn today. So, you ready, guys? It is 3 o'clock. And as I All right, can y'all hear me now? Thumbs up. Let me know. Should be on. Can you hear me? All right, well, you can hear me. Now, we're going to try this again. If that mic drops, I don't know what we're going to do. I'll have to figure it out. All right. So, with that said, let's pick up where we left off. All right, we was talking about the goodies I got down here on the desk. All right, what I want to do is I got some stuff on the desk that for beginners, you'll be able to use these things, okay, in your everyday abilities. All right, why is this crazy? I got the mic and everything. Everything's just moving around. It's just going everywhere. Muted. It's not muted. So don't ask me what's going on. I have had some really freaky things going on. But we've got the military doing flyovers and stuff. So yeah, they could be running some stuff. They put it in the paper to let us know we're going to be around. So, all right, back to that. There is some beginners in the class that they don't say that they're in class, but we know they're in there. And there is also students that are on cell phones that not all cell phones can they use the chat window. Okay, not all cell phones are the same. Why am I muted? I'm not muted. Do I need to contact? Can you hear me now? Okay, sound came back. Okay. All right, don't ask me what's going on. We got all kinds of traffic out there. So it could be anything. Seriously, it can. At this point, I'm used to it. We hear strange noises all the time, like things are falling off and can't find what fell. So anyway, back to what I was saying. We got some goodies down here on the table. Now I'm going to keep a watch on the screen so that I can see if we drop out again. And if we do, we're going to have to fix that little problem. All right. And we will. That will happen. I'm going to look at this other mic to make sure she's charging. She doesn't act like she's charging too much. Let's see if she'll work in that slot. I don't know what's going on with it. I may have to pull back on these. All right. So let me switch camera angles and we can get to it. If we run over a little bit, we just run over a little. How does that sound? Now, can y'all see everything down here? Can you see it all? This is today's lesson. Did you all print this off? Did you print it off? If you didn't, you need to print that and this. It's up under video. Make sure you go get it and print it off. But our other goodies are down here. Look at all this fun stuff I got on the table. Now, you see all this. These are different paper clips. The most commonly used ones are these two. Okay. Now, these are placeholders. We use that on tatting, especially working with beads. Okay. Now, you can use the medium size, the large size, or the teeny weeny size. Oops, we don't want that to get caught up. Okay. These are put out by Tim Holtz. Anybody here does paper crafting, they know who Tim Holtz is. And he makes these, what they call mini paper clips. These work great in tatting. They're easy to carry around with you. They don't take up a bunch of room. All right. So you got those kind. Then you've got all these little decorative ones. And of course, there's more. I even got some that's got glasses on them. Okay. But any paper clip will do as long as it holds the place. No sound. Try your speakers. You're okay? All right. We're having problems today, Jackie. Can you tell? I don't know what's causing the fade in and out on the speakers, but I'm going to try to whiz and see if we can get done, okay? All right, so these are all paper clips. You can buy these cute little paper clips all over the place. Yeah, we got gramillions. Definitely got gramillions. All right. So go get you some cute paper clips. If you're doing cute tatting, get some cute paper clips. I mean, the two go hand in hand. They have to. All right. So we're going to put that over there out of the way. Now we have these fun little things. Anybody know what these are? I'll show you. Now these are in different colors. Okay. I know you can hardly see them. Let me get a piece of paper and put it on the back. You see that? Y'all see that? These are, guess what? Fishing line. It's a very, very thin fishing line. You can use this to pull your tails of your thread through your tatting when you're done tatting, so you can hide your tails the easy way. Okay, you would tat over these instead of your tail. When it's time to pull the tail through, you'd run your tail up through it, and guess what? Bob's your uncle, your tail's sewed in, and no more tails. Okay, this is a floss threader. Okay, it comes in a little packet like this, says gum on the front. It's a little storage container. Now, it comes with a lot of them in here, but over time they break, they get lost, and they're not that expensive. Okay, and I tend to keep all these little doodads in here together because they're all monofilament. All right, and when you need something to pull your ends through and you're tatting, this works great. It's thinner than your thread. Okay, let's start there. If it's thinner than the thread, it'll pull much easier. Problem is getting it fed down through that libby hole. All right, we'll just mess with that later, not now. This is what they call fire line. Beaters use it. The nice thing about this fire line, let's see, you open it up, you thread that through. It's as thin as hair. Okay, and you put your thread in there. You can pull it tight like that on your thread, and you can bend it out of your way. This is fire line. Okay, so what you do is you tie the end of it together, cut you off a length, tie the end of it together, and heat it with a lighter, a candle, some kind of a flame, and blunt the end. Okay, and it stays together, not a problem. I like these better than the floss threaders because they bend and they move out of your way. They're thinner than the floss threaders. Therefore, I don't care what size thread you're pulling through, it's coming through without a problem. All right, so we got that out of the way. Next little fun deal we got. Remember last week I was telling you about sequins and the little shrinky dinks is what it's called. You get them at the craft store. You can get them from Amazon in a packet, and you have to cut them out 50% bigger than what you want the final size to be. They will shrink in the oven to be this. They're no thicker than a piece of paper. Okay, when you print them out on your printer. Then you cut them out. You poke your hole. Use a big hole punch. Poke your hole. It shrinks everything, including the hole. So if you want a bigger hole after you've done your shrinky dinks, then you can use a little drill bit and drill it to be as big as you want. Because this is a hard plastic. See how thick that is? It started off as paper. Okay. So yeah. If you want to do the shrinky dinks, you can make a ton of these. Okay. Keep them in your bag, keep them in your pocket, keep them everywhere. If you lose one, you've not lost any, really, because you've got a whole blue million of them sitting over there waiting to be used. Now, these are sequins. Okay. Now you can get the sequins with pre-drilled holes. All right. Or you can get some that's got a center hole, and you can use these for cutting your ends, your tail ends. And let me show you how you do that. And it keeps you from cutting your thread. How many of you have cut your tail end so close that you cut your thread? Raise your hand. I'm professed in that job. I can do that blindfolded. All right, what you do is you put your thread tail through the hole, okay? Hold it in place, and then you snip the thread. I don't want to snip this thread because this is thread we're going to be working with. But you snip it, and it will not allow you to cut your thread below. Whereas if you snip this thread real close, you take a chance of cutting the thread you want to keep in there. So that's how you use that. Okay? And I mean, you'd be surprised what tatters use to work with. And it's because the craft is versatile. Our tools are too. Our tools can be used many different ways. Okay? We can use them in the kitchen. We can use them fishing. We can use them for honey. I mean, you'd be surprised what we can use our tools for. And the thing of it is, it goes with the craft. Yes, you did Rosemary's Heart in needle tatting last year. All right, let's see. I agree with you, and that's why I like the Fireline Aurora, is because it's not really a wire. It is actually a thread with a wire run through it, but the wire is so fine that you don't even know it's there. Very small, Jackie, very small. I don't know the weight, but I mean, it is thread size fishing line. They call it monofilament, okay? But it's a fishing line, and it's for small fish, I would suppose. Teresa Woods made those up, and everybody got them in their kit one year. Her husband fly fishes. Okay? You love fine line from any craft? How do you use the finger tatting thing? All right, Anna, I will show you. Let me dig it out of my little dish over here. This is the easiest thing in the world to use. Let me get some thread. All right, here's my thread sample. What you want to do, make yourself a slip knot. Yes, brain, slip knot. I did grocery shopping before I did class today. I just finished when I started class, so my brain's still in shell shock. I won't say no more. All right, make yourself a slip knot. Put your crochet hook through the loop. Pull that thread through the loop. Okay? Now, once you pull the thread through the loop, drop, this would be the shuttle. Okay? Give yourself a big enough loop for your shuttle. Run your shuttle through. Pull it down. Latch it into place. Okay? And it's there. Now, all you have to do, you see, is tat with it as if it was a tatting shuttle. Of course, I got fat fingers. It's not going to work today. All right, bring it back through. This is old thread too. And tat. Just like normal. Okay? We'll do 6 double stitches. How's that? That's 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't know what size thread this is. It's very tiny. A very tiny thread. And then we're going to close our ring or our chain. We'll just pull it tight into the chain. You know, make it arc and do its thing. Of course, it got a knot in it. There it went. Twisted sister. We got our little ring. See how tiny that ring is? It must be tiny thread. And then when you get through tatting, all you do is snip off your ends like that. Okay? And or finish your tatting, you know, whatever. And then you just pull back on this, loosen this up, pull it off, and it's done. Got it? So how cool is that little tool? So y'all go out and get you some shrinky dinks. I think you can get a pack of 20 sheets for like $6. Well, at least you used to. I don't know what it is today. But you can get it, like I say, from Amazon. Most of your craft stores have it. Michael's, for those of you in the United States, has it. It's over in the miscellaneous crafts. Okay. It's considered a kid's craft because kids do it. They print out these pretty pictures and then they color them, because you color them with pens, and then you shrink them, and the pencil, the colored pencil stuff stays on there. It embeds it in there. And then you get through with that, shrink them, you're done. Okay. The instructions comes with it. And, you know, it's a lot of fun. For moms, you got kids, it's a good craft you can do with your kids, and you get something out of it. I mean, it's a no-brainer there. All right. So let's get started on this. First of all, I want you to see this. This is a larger version. Now, mind you, this came off my tail. I tied them in and it slipped out. So that will have to be fixed. This is a flub. This is one of my flubs. Y'all like my flubs? So here's what you got to do with this. Once you tat this up, you join these hearts on the edge here. Okay? And when you join them up, you join them with your picots along the edge. All right? And it makes a little basket. When you come back around on this outer edge, okay, on your last round, and you join it here, go ahead and cut your ends, because you don't have one of these tails hanging out on all of the hearts. All right? You want them just to be across. And all this is a Josephine chain. Now, as I said, I don't like Josephine chains done with a shuttle. To me, when you're working a Josephine chain using a shuttle, it takes the twist out because you're constantly rolling that thread over and over and over itself. I will inevitably, and I don't care how much thread I have to pull off to do it, I will make whatever Josephine chain is called for in a pattern using a needle. Okay, that is why I stress so much for everybody to learn both tools. There are techniques that the needle does it better, makes it look prettier, gives it the frill, the lacy effect you want, just like this. Okay, there are techniques that are better served for shuttle, and there's techniques that are served for needle. So we advise you to learn both. Okay, now when I say that, let me show you something. This is my box of goodies. In here I've got all kinds of little samples. Remember the rose we did in class? Coretta did? There's my rose. I was playing around. These are all little flower medallions that I make. I do things like this, just, it's one of those, it's a pattern, it's in the brain, and I can do it without thinking. And if I've got my mind on something else that I'm trying to work out, this is what I do. I tat easy patterns because I don't have to think about them. And my advice to you all, this is a good way to get your tension and keep it. If you're constantly making something in tatting, you will make it and you'll keep your tension. Okay, here's another one. That's an easy pattern. I can tell you all the way through how many stitches go where. Here's another one. And these are just little doodads that I tat up. Okay, and if you need something in a quick like hurry, pair of earrings, guess what? They're in here. Here's another pattern. See? And these are quick grabs. And I finish them out. I go ahead and finish them out. Here's one that's got beads in it. Okay, it's one of the hearts. I was working on this the other day for the class. I got another one in here, I think. I should have another one in here. Let me see. Maybe, maybe not. May have already used it. Just never know. Nope, here it is. No, that ain't it. Oh, well, I tried. But what I do after it's all said and done, I'm looking for a project. Well, I go in here and I start, well, I wonder if, oh, here's the other one I made. I go in here and I say, okay, what can I do to this to add on to it? It's inspiration. It's an inspiration grab, if you want to call it that, because every piece in here can give you food for thought. Now I've got a bucket. This is just the ones that I've already cleaned the ends up off on. And I've got a bucket over here just full of doodads. Okay. And it's because this is what I do when I'm thinking. If I've got a problem and I'm trying to figure out how to fix it, like, well, I had a problem in the bedroom, in the closet, and it was driving me nuts. I couldn't get the clothing rack that came with the rig. Okay. Every time you put your head in the closet, you needed a brain aneurysm because it was going to give you one. You'd hit your head on the little bar you hang your clothes on. And I'm like, okay, this thing, the washer and dryer is at each end of the closet. Dryer on one side, washer at the other. I don't have a washer and dryer in those parts for this very fact. I've watched people that have that washer system, one on each end, and the clothes in the middle. Well, there's shoe racks and shelves behind all that. So you're constantly moving your clothes back and forth on this rack. You're either moving it to do the washing or you're moving it to do the drying. I, for one, don't like either one of those jobs very much. And the last thing I want to do is add another job to it. Okay. So I sit there and I was like, okay, how can I make this work for me and still be able to get a washer and dryer and make it work? Well, I couldn't get the dryer part because you'd have to drill a hole in the side of the rig to vent the dryer. Upstairs, it's already pre-drilled. All you do is pop out that they've got there. And I'm like, yeah, no. So this is where a lot of these rounds came from, is thinking that through, because I could think and tat at the same time. And tatting is a natural relaxant, especially to shuttle tatters. We use the rhythm and the motion of tatting to calm ourselves. Whether we know it or not, that's what happens. That's part of tatting. That's the plus on tatting. Okay. But to show you on this heart how they join, if you notice, I've got two of them here that are the same size thread. You see this right here where their picots are? They will join together. Okay. And you put 4 of these together, you have a basket. And you would run your handle from the top of one side where the 2 basket pieces join over to the other side. And you can make that handle as long as you want. Okay. Now, to add beads, the simplest place to add beads is right here. And what I did is on the single picot, and we're going to get into this. On the single picot, I put 4 beads. And I joined the other 4 rings to this, separated by 1 bead. So you can jazz it up, make it sparkle, give it a little bling, and it still is a basket. When you do this outer ring here at the top, you could add more beads. You know, the world's your oyster. Do what you like. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get started because it's a fairly easy pattern. I will show you the pitfalls on this pattern when you go to do it before we even get started. Right here on this side, okay, This one here joins twice back on that same previous picot. Okay. Now, I don't care how many times I do this pattern. I can do this pattern in my sleep. But inevitably, where the corners are and the chain meets itself and rejoins, I will inevitably put it on the next picot. And then guess what? I got to back it up because I look and I say, oh, crud. I put it in the wrong place. So I got to back it up. So make sure when you're doing this, remember the corners, they join back on themselves. It happens here, it happens at the bottom, and it happens here. Don't forget, it's not fun, especially if you've got beads. You can flat tear up your tatting because this here is 80 thread. This here is 20. You want to see the size difference? There you go. This one's 20, this is 80. Does that give you an idea? Now, mind you, I have some thread that is even smaller than this, and I have tatted with it. I have 120 thread, tatting thread, and it's super small. It is like tatting with sewing thread. That's the thread if I use it, and I don't use it often, okay? I use it when the need calls for it. When you use it, it's Band-Aid City because it's like paper cuts on your fingers. If you let it slide on your hands and you've got dry hands, it will literally cut your skin. It's that thin. Yes, you're right, Hasney. This is a beginner pattern. Beginners can do this in the bat of an eye. It looks difficult, okay, but it's not. It's very, very easy. The problem children are these, and it's called pay attention. That's it. So with that said, we're going to put that out of the way and look at this. Now you can make a pattern like this. This is one we did. It's Jennifer Williams pattern. The flower doily. All right. The flower, whatever she called it, motif. And you can join this. Okay, anything that has an odd number of picots is joinable. Anything that has an even number of picots is joinable. The only way that would be a problem is if one chain had one number of picots and the other chain had another number. But when you come together with them, all right, you bring them together directly across from its match. So you can see, and then you can stand it on end. Well, the basket needs to go like this, you see? And you can come in, put another little triangle motif. Let me show you. And see, that's what these things are good for. They do two things. They make you think things through, and they help you design your pattern, okay? So see, you can put them here. You lay that on the table. You say, okay, I want this one to come in right here, and I want this one to come in right here, but it needs to angle for a basket. Well, what do I need to do to get it to angle? Well, on the sides, I can only join one. You see? So you can use little motifs, and you only got to tat up 3 of them. And if you do a lot of thinking, you can tat up 3 of them in no time at all. All right? And then, guess what? You have your samples to play with, to design with, okay? And this is something Sue has talked about many times in her classes over the years. Your sample scraps can serve a purpose as well as a finished piece, okay? So keep that thought in mind. This is another thing. You can do it with these, okay? You can put a whole lot of these together and come up with something. My little bunny's, he's trying to hop away. And you can put, well, like this one. You can set him on the bunny. And to attach this to your bunny rabbits, you can use double back tape. I don't advise double back tape if you want to keep it around kids. but you can use the, what is it, the fabric glue, Fabri-Tac. You can use that, and you can glue it. Now, Fabri-Tac will glue paper to paper, fabric to paper, thread to whatever you're gluing it to. When you're gluing it to a slick surface like this, hit that with the fingernail file, one of those emery boards, to rough it up, okay, so that your Fabri-Tac will hold it. You can use crazy glue, but crazy glue in plastic doesn't work because crazy glue will eat the plastic over time. That's right, Aurora. Irish crochet works that way, and old tatting works that way. Back in the day, before the joins were created, you know, it only took a crochet hook, but it took them a little while to figure out the crochet hook through the picot would join it. So they just used thread, sewing thread, and they joined it using sewing thread. Well, if you find old tatting from back in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, you will find tatting that has all these little fuzzy balls where the joins are. That is where they sewed the two together and knotted it. Okay. And then just cut it. And that's how they did tatting back in the day. You find something like that, that's a find. That is a serious find. That is very old. Some of it could be over 100 years old. Okay. But that's how they did it. And that's what my little box here is full of, is all the rounds that I do when I'm contemplating working out a situation or thinking of the next pattern I want to do. I don't always tat. I've got a huge library of patterns. I don't always tat other people's patterns. I usually pick a pattern and I pick apart the pattern with the pieces I like. And I would use that picked apart pattern to create something new. Okay, now, anybody know what this is? This is old. This was in my grandmother's stuff. Anybody know what it is? Some of you older ladies, my age and older, should know what this is. It's a cedar egg. Yeah, you can use it for darning socks, but it's awful small. They're wooden eggs. But back in the day, you put these in your closet to deter mice. Mice don't like cedar. That's why if you get a cedar closet, you can put your sweaters and everything in there. The mice will not get in there. The moths won't get in there. Yeah. So you get one of these. To get the cedar smell, you can soak it a little bit in water. Okay. And that cedar smell is strong. Okay. And this is what my grandmother kept in all of her closets. She had a whole dozen of these things. Every one of us kids got one. Okay. Mom had one. Mom gave it to friends. So, yeah, you should be able to get them through Amazon. What you'd have to pay for them, Jax, I don't know. But they are, and it gives the whole closet the smell of cedar. I love cedar. As you can see, that little dish that I had, that's a cedar dish. My stepdad bought it for my mom. And this is something that he wrote on the back of the box for. And this is the year that we went to Six Flags, or Kings Island, excuse me, in Cincinnati. First time we'd ever been there. And he took us as a family to Kings Island. And it's an amusement park like Six Flags. It's still there. And I thought, we just hit the jackpot, because we got to go to a place and got to ride all them rides for free. We didn't realize it cost money to get in. He got this for my mom, and when she passed, I said, I want that because that's a memory that we had as a family, and it was a blast, an absolute blast. So, with that said, these cedar eggs, you can decorate these up and hang them up in your closet. Okay. And you got artwork in your closet. Who can say that? Okay. I'm just teasing here. But if you want to, knock yourself out. Now, let's get on to this block tatted rickrack. All right. And then we're going to do how you do the center part of the heart. Okay. Because that's the confusing part. Everybody wants to know how you do it. So I'm going to walk you through that. But we're going to do the block tatted rickrack. And I'm also going to show you how to do Victorian sets that will also give you the same look as the block tatted rickrack. For those of you that have block tatted, it's very similar to that. Okay. If you haven't block tatted, you may find it a bit confusing. That's why I'm going to show you Victorian sets first. All right. Because I don't want to confuse you any more than necessary. All right. Now, Victorian sets, also called the node stitch, also called rickrack stitch, is something a lot of tatters use just for a decorative element. To set up, down here would be the tatting you're working, okay, because you can use this on your tatting rounds, squares, anyway, okay? And there is a doily called the Victorian trellis doily, okay? It's in the Berta book, and it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern, all right? And it uses this stitch in that pattern, all right? And it makes it look like a trellis, really. It's got that look to it. So with that said, let's get to it. The first thing you're going to do is put a double stitch in. Now, if you're starting with continuous thread method, you will want to put a paper clip, those that we seen earlier, right there before the double stitch as a place marker because you're going to need it. All right. Then you're going to put in the first half, flip your stitch and bring it down. And you're going to do that 5 times, the first half. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, let's see. We got that, and it's putting picots because I'm working with size 10 thread. I do not like size 10. Let me back that up. Because it's a putting the picots. Or I could have flipped it too. Now, for you shuttle tatters, remember, when it calls for to flip the thread, do a regular stitch, and then they hit you with, well, don't flip the next stitch. Oh boy, getting that habit broke is next near nothing. It doesn't happen easy. All right, I got that picot out. So we've got that's 2, and we're going to do 3, pull it down, and 4. You don't want picots. And there's 5. All right. Everybody see that? Let me bring it up so you can see it. That's what it should look like. All right. Now, the second half of that stitch is the second half of that stitch. And you're going to do the flip on the second half. Okay. And you're going to do the flip on the second half. You do that 5 times. Okay. That's 3, 4, and 5. Now, what that did is it gave you a node right here. All right. That node, if you look at the front of it, looks like a double stitch. When you pull this tight, it shapes it into a V. You see that? you have your V. It's like a rickrack, but it's not a rickrack, okay? So it's doable as a rickrack. Now, another way you can do this and do your first half. Well, let's do a double stitch right here and get it out of the way. All right. Now we're going to do the first half of the rickrack. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've got 5 double stitches in there, and we flip. Now we're not going to flip the second one. We're going to bring it down. Okay. And this way you can see how, and you see how it flips. You got to hold on to it. This one you can see whether or not you flipped your stitch because of the 2 colors of thread. Now, you're not going to get the V in this. I just want you to see how, when we get into this other one, you're going to be doing things. But do you see this? It gives the impression of a V. But again, it's not the V that you need. All right. So that leads us into this block tatting. This one here is the fun one. Practice it a lot before you do it on a piece of work, because you've got to get the direct tatting down before you move on. You got to understand the concept behind the direct tatting, because it will confuse you. Use 2 different colors of thread to perform this till you're used to it. This is where those little sample pieces come into play. Those little sample pieces are lifesavers because you're playing with them. You're not playing with actual piece that's for sale, going into a competition, just any of the aboves. All right, so according to Ruth's directions, she says you're going to begin with 10 double stitches. Okay? And then you're going to alternate to 10 normal stitches. Then 10 direct tatted stitches. Okay? That's confusing. Okay? And she does duplicate things a lot in her directions. You have to pay very close attention to what she's saying. She's saying 10 double stitches, a zigzag chain, alternate 10 normal stitches. All right, then 10 direct tatted, and then 10 double stitches, 10 direct tatted. You see how she did that there? All right, so you've got 10 double stitches or 10 normal stitches, then 10 direct tatted stitches, and then she goes into the directions. So yes, that little paragraph there can confuse you, but what it means is 10 double stitches, 10 direct tatted, and we're going to do that. So she says start off with 1 double stitch in the beginning, pull it into place, and then count off your 10 double stitches. So that was our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, and 10. We got 10 double stitches. Y'all see it? 10 double stitches. Now, we've got 10 direct tatted stitches. Thank you for coming, Tasneen. You have a good day. All right, so now we've got 10 regular stitch, or 10 direct tatted. Now, when they say direct tatted, it is also rods. It is also a front side, back side look. Okay, but it's all front side tatted. Okay, so we do our direct tatting. So we go for second half first, slide. First half second, slide. Second half first, slide. I did not flip. And we go with the next one. And we do that 10 times. This is why I say 2 different colors of threads, folks, till you get used to it. Okay? Because you're doing the V. See it? It's coming in on its own. All right? When you pull that tight, you can really see it pronounced. All right, so let's keep doing that for 10 stitches. Everybody following along? Let me know. And you'll see me do this, and it's like, yeah, I got to catch myself. But what you're doing is you're putting your caps on the bottom. All right, instead of on the top. Now, those of you that like to play thread chicken, this would come in handy when you're doing your chains. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 4 more to put in. 7, 8, 9. I keep catching that shuttle on the back end. And 10. There we go. Now, y'all see it? We got our V. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to do 10 more regular double stitches. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gotta open that one up. The other half of 8, 9, and 10. Well, there we go. We'll lay that out so y'all can see. And if you pull your chain into place at every up and down movement, it will lay just like this. I did not pull the first one. That is just a straight chain so that you could see how it will look if you pull your chains tight, pull your stitches tight rather than leave them loose. Okay, so do you guys think you can do that? If you think you can do it, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I'll wait. Any questions so far? Yeah, it is pretty, and it adds a bit of definition to things. Now, when you're ready to go back the other way, because if you follow in her instructions, because we ended on the down, we have to go back the other way on the down. So we're going to do this again. She says, put in a picot. Okay. There's our picot. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to reverse the work, didn't I? Oops. Bad girl, bad girl. Got to reverse my work. When you start back the other direction. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can cut and hat ends, or no, you don't flip the second stitch. You slide your stitches on. It's called rods, but you do not flip. Your flips don't want to not flip. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. And that's why I say practice it with 2 colors of thread. Start there. Once you feel the rhythm of it, then go and do it on your work, your actual work. Okay? But you can change any chain into this. All right. Now, let's do this puppy. As she says, according to her instructions, to put in a picot at the end. And we're to do the same thing all over again. So we put in our picot. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we changing directions, we're going back across. We had to reverse our work. Okay, so we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So pull your chain in, tighten it. Now you're going to lay it up here next to your last chain. You see? And it's going to be a chain on top of a chain. Grab your crochet hook and go in where the two of them meet. I think that crochet hook may be a tad bit too big. That one I definitely knows too. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? That's a 12. We'll just grab a 12. That should work. Much better. Now this is going to be a tight squeeze where they join together. Okay. There is a bit of a picot. And what you're going to do here is a lock join. Normally you wouldn't have that tail in your way. Okay. So you're going to do a lock join with your shuttle thread. Shuttle 1 thread, which is the core. Okay. Grab it, grab it, grab it, and pull it. Pull it up tight. Release it off the finger. Put it on our finger. Okay. You're going to come up into it. Pull it down. Pull everything together. Make sure you're lined up with the other one. That's where the little pick comes in handy, and lock it down. And when you're done, then you go in there and you reshape it. Make sure everything lines up together. Okay? But you see, one's going to be tight and one's going to be loose if you're not careful. It's been a while since I've done one of these. But that's how they fit. And then you'll come down this one, back up this one. But remember, at the end, you have to reverse your work. You're going to have to watch it a few times. You mean I taught you something, Monica? Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, it's pretty. And if you're going to use this technique and you're going to use 2 colors of thread, I mean, it does show. Now, the next one's going to come up to be purple. See, and it's going to flip the colors back and forth. It's doable, folks. It's doable. But it's fun. It's easy and it's fun. Okay? So, Jackie, 10 normal, then 10 starting with the second half. No flipping. Then first half. Is that the one? Is that one flipped? You do 10 normal double stitches. Then you do 10 rods stitches. That would make it easier to remember. Okay, reverse order of double stitches, rods. Okay, then 10 normal stitches. When you say normal, you're flipping. When you're doing rods, you're not flipping. Does that make sense? I'm trying to take the guesswork out of this, because the directions are confusing if you don't understand this type of tatting. Now, when we come back, we will get into some block tatting and we'll get into some Clooney tatting. Yeah, I'm fixing to blow you guys' minds, okay? But first, we have patterns to do. So, any other questions? The reason I'm surprised, with Monica, folks, Monica, if this is the same Monica I think it is, she does design. So, yeah, for me to teach a designer something, that's a stretch. No, you don't flip when you're doing rods. On this technique, you don't. Right, just like when you do a split ring. Play with it, Pam, and see. You do it the same basic way. You're going to reverse your work. Remember, reverse work. Top becomes bottom, bottom becomes top. Turn your work is like turning in the pages of a book, back and forth. Really, how is it worked on a needle? Aurora, I have not done it on a needle. I will practice it and see. This is all I've got, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same way because guess what? Ruth Perry's a needle tatter. Mind blown. Mind blown. You have a question, Anna? Go ahead. Now, how long she's been a needle tatter, I do not know. I do know she is a needle tatter now. She has glaucoma, so she feels the thread. Must be the other Monica. Okay, I got the wrong Monica then. But you could be a designer. I think you could. I think every one of you could be designers. We need some new ones. They're just falling to the wayside. You can do either one. I would do 4 hearts, okay? But what I would do is do the first heart, tat the other, tat the other heart, and when you're coming around on that last round, this part right here, that's when I would tat them together. As soon as I got past this upper piece and got into this picot here, okay, I would come down all the way to the center picot on this last down here. That's a ring, by the way. Okay, so now let me cut this thread off and we're going to get into this heart. Okay, our chains on this heart, we're going to do a pink heart. Our chains are going to be the purple, so that way it'll be pretty. It'll be pretty. Now, so with that said, did I just do what I think I just did? I sure enough did. Not thinking. See, folks, see? I do cray cray. I just do cray cray. I'm well versed in that. I got to tell y'all a story about today, though. It's a good one. My husband made it today because yesterday I did it. I did laundry yesterday. Oh, Sue, I didn't even know you was in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, now let's do this puppy. Now, what I'm doing here, okay, is I'm just doing a square knot with my thread so I can tap my ends in because I don't want you to see my ends. All right, now there we go. I pull it tight and we are going to do the rings in the purple because that's the way it's going. I tend to follow the thread, but I'll tell you my story. I did laundry yesterday. I washed 2 loads of water. Okay. And today my husband made coffee and he made a pot of water. So we're even Steven. All right. And I told him, I said, well, thank you. And he said, what for? I said, now I know it's not my old age. It's just, we just ain't thinking. All right. Yes, you did, Sue. You got it right. And don't worry about my name. I mean, it's spelled 20,000 different ways. I guess so I don't even let it bother me. All right, now let's start with this pattern. Very first thing we do is figure 1, A, B, C, D. And we've got these chains coming around here. All right, so it's A, ring A is 6 picot, 6 close, and reverse our work. All right, so we're going to do that. Do 6 double stitches. Now I'm using size 10. Again, this is size 10. Y'all know how I feel about size 10. It's like working with yarn to me because I use very small tatting thread. 2. Now remember this picot, the very first picot, the only picot we're going to be putting in these rings. All right, has to be big enough to compensate all 3 joins. So anybody know how you would test your size on the joins for this? What does a join, a picot size for a join for 3 rings, what size does it end up having to be? I'm going to show you how to use those little sequins with this. So we got 4, 5, and 6. Okay, when you're making a picot that is to accommodate so many rings joined to that one picot, the general rule is 1 double stitch per ring. Remember that. 1 double stitch per ring. So if your ring has 7 joins, that ring needs to be equal to 7 double stitches. Everybody got that? Y'all understand that math? So if your thread is size 10, like what I'm using, it has to equal 3 double stitches on your picot because you're joining 3 rings to that picot. So your picot would need to be that size. Now, what size is that? That's where this little picot gauge comes in so handy because you can measure 3 double stitches. It's 1/8 of an inch. You see that? Now we're going to put our picot gauge in there and measure off the picot. Ah, did I give you all a little trick to use? It's a cheater trick. Okay, now we're going to do the other 5 double stitches. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we got that. Now, pull it closed. Now you can post your shuttle if you want for you new students. Posting as you drop the shuttle down through the ring, it brings your work to the back side. and it makes the ring easier to open should you need to open it. Now, remember our little sequins, folks. Sequins. Get this one. Where's it at? Where is it at? There it is. Come on. All right, here's our sequin. We're going to run our thread up through it. You see that? Lay it right down next to the ring and snip that thread. We did not snip our ring. We did not snip our thread. And then take your thumbnail and push the little frazzle back in and hide it. Everybody see that? Did y'all see that? We'll do it again on the chain, because now we're going to do a chain of 6 picot 6. Okay. All right, now we will be doing rods because we're doing front side, back side. Now, the difference between rods on this and the block tatting is we are going to flip our stitches. Okay, so we're going to put in our first half, which would be the second half of our double stitch. Okay, now we're going to do the very first half where you'd start the double stitch. Now, let me show you something. Because it's different colored thread, you're going to be able to see on the front side, you have a double stitch there and a double stitch here. Now, granted, this gap wouldn't be here normally the way I normally tat, okay? I just put the knot in there so that I could get my tails to come out so I could show you how to use those fantabulous sequins, okay? So, you've got your caps are facing the same direction here as they are here. That's what front side, back side does for you. It's a definitive front and a definitive back. All right. So now let's get the rest of these 6 double stitches in here. That's 2, 3. Now, normally when I'm tatting, I don't use a knot. Okay, when I join 2 colors of thread. But the way I tat, and I tat so tight, it just naturally is not a problem. When I get to the middle of the stitch, I pull that tail and lay it over. Okay, put in the second half of that double stitch. 4, 5, and 6. All right, this is a joining picot, okay? On these chains, these are joining picots. And you see on your paper, your printout, how close those threads are running in together, right? And that is going to be a super small baby picot, okay? So we're just going to make it an itty bitty baby picot, okay? And what you want to do, put your pick on your shuttle or your crochet hook, or you can gauge it with your eyes, up to you. Pull it in close, but you want it close enough that you can get a crochet hook in there for joins. All right. Then put in the second half, slide it over, and you can barely see that picot, and that's what you want for your joining picots. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now we're going to pop that ring into place, shape it, make it nice and pretty. Get my fingers out of that. Lay it down. Now this is where you're going to run your thread again up through the hole on the sequin. Bring the sequin down to your work and use your scissors. Pull it. Snip. And you did not cut your thread. Okay? Take your fingernail, run it where you snipped your thread, and get the fuzzy off of and out of the way. Now, your next ring, you're going to join it in here, in that picot. Like I said, this is the hardest part, is that picot, so that you know how big that picot needed to be. Now your following rings are the same as your first ring. It is 6 join to the picot 6. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to join to that picot. Reach through that picot, grab your thread, pull it down, and join. You want to work it over right next to that ring. Okay, that's where you're going, right there. Put in the second half of that stitch. It's fighting with me. Pull that out. Doesn't want to go down. I haven't got enough thread. That's for one problem. Okay. I'm doing it backwards. I'm rushing. I should never be a Russian. Never be a Russian on anything. I'm too old for that. It might wind me. It's getting cloudy here. I don't know if we're going to get rain or what. Hub says we're not, but I think we will. I hope we don't. I call him my Hubson. All right, let's put in them other 5 double stitches and we'll close that ring. One, two, three, four, 5, and 6. All right, now we're ready to close our ring. I'll get it to slide around after I get it closed. I don't like size 10 thread, I'm just telling you. All right, grab it by the picot and slide that ring over. You want that ring snug up to that ring. Got it? Y'all got that? Tell me you got that. I know we've run over just a little bit, but that's okay. Now, after you get your next ring and your last ring in, okay, you do your chains. You're going to have 3 chains according to the instructions. You're going to have this chain, and this chain. And guess what? You're going to switch shuttles and start your chain coming back this way. Okay? Now, these chains in the center is what we're working. When you finish this one that's got all the frills, you know, all the little picots, those are the ones that right here at the corner, you see it right here? Make you a note on there with your pen, pencil, anything. Make a note. These are going to be your joining picots here. You're going to start right here, joining all the way down this side. Okay? You're going to join all the way down this side to here with your next motif. So you'll tat up one complete one. Then you're going to join your next heart to here. And then you're going to do it all the way around, and it'll naturally cup up. We'll get into how to make a basket out of a flat motif, okay? But this is what you do, and it will give you a little small cup, and you sit your little Easter eggs, your cute little Easter eggs in them, and you can hang them on your tree. You can use the rickrack stitch that we learned earlier, and you can place the rickrack on your eggs. Another way you can do it is little paper strips. If you want to change your decor every year, you can use little paper strips and put the rickrack on it, okay? And just do one strand of the rickrack. And you can change your colors that way. Glue it to the paper, and then, you know, use it again next year. So, Do you all understand how you measure your picots? Let me switch to the other camera. The other. We got to get the other one. There we are. We back. We back. So y'all got it on how to use your little sequins. Okay. And how to measure your picots. Okay. Because the last thing you want on something this delicate is a floppy picot. We don't want floppy picots when we're joining. We don't want any extra space in that picot that's taking all those rings, because then it makes it loosey-goosey. So are there any questions, guys? Yeah, I answered her, Pam. She was right. Anybody else? Now, don't forget Sue's class on Thursday. Katia's class tomorrow. Katia, are you in the classroom? Is Katia in the classroom? Did anybody see her come in? Well, I guess she's sick. Um, all right then. Any questions for your homework tonight? You are to make you a basket out of this pattern for your pretty little Easter eggs. I want y'all to share the pictures in the classroom. I want you to do this. I want you to practice it. I want to see your samples on this. This is a difficult technique for those of you that are new to tatting or brand new. If you're brand new, don't do this. Don't do this. I want you to do the other one. Okay? The Victorian sets. Yes, you put a small, and these are tiny picots, Anna. Very tiny. You do not want to see that picot. I mean, it's a blip of a picot. Just like the picot on this one here, it's a blip of a picot. Okay? Yes, ma'am. What's your question? Go ahead and ask it. Well, I'm glad I got to answer it. Now, folks, I have an announcement to make. Anna is working on a little project for me, and she's going to be inquiring for some help. She's going to need a little, some helpers to do the little project I got for her. And she's in charge of that project. Okay. So if you're contacted by Anna, know that it's her project that she's working on, and she's doing it for me, and it's going to help you guys. Okay. It's a huge undertaking on her behalf. She is going to tat up samples in size 20 thread for all the patterns that are posted on the class site, so that I can crop the photos and we get clean photos of it, and we can make them fit with the title of the pattern either next to it or right below the picture, so it can be easier for you guys to see what you're looking for. So we're not going to have just the name on the website. We're also going to have the pattern picture. And some of the patterns, when we started redoing the files and getting them set up for the new website, the pictures come out black. Okay, let's get real. Some of the pictures did not transfer well. And, others they did, but I just want an updated picture. And that's what Anna's working on for me. So anybody that would like to help her, give her a shout out, because this is a huge undertaking. I'm going to be putting the patterns together out of the document files that we have and getting them up on the site. And as I post them, she's going to have a binder full of patterns she's got to tat up. There's no time frame. Okay, it's when she gets one done, she snaps the picture, and she's going to build her portfolio real fast. So she needs help. So if you guys want to help her, go, she can tell to who she wants to do what. So, but I'm giving her the reins on that. Like I said, it takes a lot of people to get this village into a township. So, oh, Jeremy, you're so funny. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, folks, I'm going to call it a class. Just one sample of the pattern. Now, if it's a doily, we're not doing the doilies. I will use the picture of the doilies. I've got a tool I can use to zoom in and get the picture. Dennis knows how to use it. He's real good with that kind of stuff. And he said he was going to do the doily pictures. So all it is samples of the small, like earrings, just motifs, medallions, things like that. So it's whatever size it comes out to be. That's what it is. Using size 20. And then you just take a picture of it and send her the picture. Yeah, Sue's getting into Celtic and interlacing. Y'all gotta be there. You just gotta be there. Yeah, 2 repeats is fine. 2 repeats is fine, Mavis. We just need so they can look at it. On the edgings, make sure you get one solid piece of the edging. So, but it's just something, people are visual. They must see. Reading does not answer the question. I'm one of those people. In case y'all are wondering, this is a new t-shirt. It says, sorry, I can't. I'm too busy raising my mother-in-law's child. So, yes. The pattern's on the website, Anna. Start there. I've got more coming. Lots more coming. And what you do, Anna, and all of you that help her, if you tat the piece, put your name on it so that I can say that so and so tatted the sample. Okay? You cannot change these patterns. You must tat them as they are written. The little motif I made tons of. Oh. You're talking this one? If it's this one, I think it's, all right, let me see. It's 3 picot, 3 picot, 3 picot. All right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picots separated by 3 on the rings. And then the chains is the same thing. 5 picots separated by 3. That was my own thing. That's what popped in my head. Sounded normal. So it wasn't for anything in particular, honestly. The ones I did for the doily, I did for a friend. It's just a little bitty doily, and must go underneath a flower pot or something. I don't know. And those were all 6 picot 6. So there's a generic formula for things like that. So no, I didn't design it. Somebody else designed it, I'm sure, because it's just a generic count, is all it is. We have generic counts, okay? And we use generic counts when we're using sampling to sample a technique. And Georgia gave me the generic count. Sure do, Anna. You know, I always got time for you. I got time for everybody. All right, folks, let's call it a class. You're welcome, Derby. How have you been? You're welcome, Tracy. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you, Kathleen. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. It helps the algorithm. All right, we'll see you all in 2 weeks. May 6th, we'll be back in. All right. And by then, I'll have all the pollen out of my house and out of my head. Okay. I'm open. Awesome. Awesome. So we'll see you on the 6th. Y'all practice the 2 things I showed you, because when we come back, we're going to have some fun, fun, fun. Remember, we're doing the wave. All right. And I'll meet you on Facebook Messenger. All right. So, with that said, you all have a wonderful rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. If you get storms your way, please stay safe. And I will see you on May the 6th. May all your threads make beautiful lace these next 2 weeks. All right. Until then, I'll see you on the flip side. All right, Aurora. Thank you. And I'll see you when we come back. All right. Have a good one, folks. Bye bye.